Car manufacturers are evolving their products in very crazy different ways nowadays. And with the fact of crossovers and SUVs being the hot trend right now, you see nameplates going in that particular direction. I'll give you a couple of examples. One would be the Mitsubishi Eclipse, which was once a sports car, but now it's a crossover. Then you've got the Trailblazer, which was once a very large automobile, now again also is a crossover. You see where I'm getting at? Oh, by the way, we do have a review of the Trailblazers. A lousy plug there. But if you'd like to see it, click somewhere up here on the link or in the description below. But you see where I'm getting at, right? Now, one manufacturer is doing it with a little bit of a twist, I might say, in the form of this, the 2022 Kia Carnival SX 7-seater. Now, they want to position it and lean it towards more of a crossover SUV kind of a thing, so they've decided to name it something completely different, which is a Grand Utility Vehicle, or GUV. So the only logical question for today's program is, what gives? Let's find out. Do you need help purchasing your car insurance? Head on over to AutoDeal.com.ph/car-insurance. Here, you can compare prices and customize your insurance coverage from many of the Philippines' top providers. When you've selected the insurance that's best for you, simply fill out the application and complete the transaction with ease through Visa, MasterCard, GCash, GrabPay, or PayPal, and receive your policy within the next business day. Get the best deal on insurance with AutoDeal. To be honest with you, this Kia Carnival is a far cry from its older version. It's actually closer to being more of a large SUV or a large crossover, and it's actually much closer to its brother, the Kia Sorento, in more ways than one, which, by the way, we have a review on. The links are somewhere up on the screen or in the description down below. It takes the SUV look seriously as it comes with a wide angle and a flat face that is paired with a massive grille and sleek LED headlights. It's also got DRLs on the bumper, which give it a more masculine and subtle muscular look. It also has a nice lower lip that comes in silver and gray to help give the vehicle more depth to it. Down the side, there really isn't much to talk about when it comes to the Carnival because, well, it's very crisp, it's very clean, and truthfully, it's very broad. Apart from this accent piece that's found on the C-pillar. This is very nice, I feel, because it gives it a nice break to something that can be quite mundane when it's that massive. And it's also important because you'll find that accent actually mimicked inside. The one difference that I want to talk about is, it's a great difference, truthfully, the fact that the ground clearance has now increased. Before, it was a minivan, was it not? And it had 171 millimeters of ground clearance, which is not very much. Now that it's a grand utility vehicle, they've increased it by a total of 2 millimeters. You've also got repeaters on the side mirror, a chrome accent found down below, and 19-inch wheels wrapped in 55 series tires with disc brakes all around. Now at the rear, I wouldn't say I'm disappointed. It's just I felt it's a little bit lacking because I wanted it to be just a bit more sophisticated like the front clip. And truth be told, I was looking for a little je ne sais quoi. I don't know what, or whatever the Korean counterpart of that is. There are some cool features to it, but there are some that are kind of questionable, like the cool things. You've got brake lights here, here, and here. This is an accent light, so when you turn on your park lights, those things come on. Then your reverse lights, instead of just one, you've got two. 1 and 2, which are found on the bottom because, well, it's important to see what it is that you're backing into. The odd thing is the turn signals or the indicators are not found up here. They're actually found way down here. And that I thought, I don't know about that idea. That might need some rethinking, to be honest with you. Open her up, and this is where it becomes impressive. Because once you do, you are looking immediately at 1,000 liters of space. Yes, 1,000 liters of space with the third row still in play. It's got quite a big of a, well, it's not a divot, but it's probably not as big as the Grand Canyon, but it actually could be. And it's quite large. You'll find this similarly in a Odyssey, actually. This is what it actually looks like. And it's actually pretty cool because if you decide to fold the third row disappears into this so-called void, and you'd be looking at a total of 2,000 liters of space once you stow the third row. Now, 2,000 liters of space, but still with captain's chairs inside. Oh, did I spoil it? But yeah, captain's chairs inside. That's marvelous, darling. That's marvelous. At the front, you are greeted by the same dashboard as you would find as with the Sorento, except that you have analog gauges in this particular automobile. I'm going to turn the engine on because it's quite warm. You have analog gauges in this particular automobile, which is actually quite fine because here you're expected to, well, to be driven, not exactly to drive, if you get my drift. Earlier, I did mention that there was a nice break in the car's side exterior with a nice textured piece on the C-pillar. Here, it's mimicked again inside. This is what I was talking about. And it's nice because it's a nice continuation. It's an accent piece outside and yet an accent piece also inside. And I think that's quite nice, really. You get a large 8-inch infotainment system that comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which you can connect wirelessly. It also comes with wireless phone mirroring and a 3-zone automatic climate control, 2 for the front and 1 for the back. Down here, you've got your air controls, which it can get a bit confusing, especially if you just start with this car trying to figure out which is for the rear and which is for the front. And then it's not very premium in the sense that it's a capacitive touch screen, so there is no beep and you kind of have to press it a little bit harder. It's a little strange on that, but it works fine. And then obviously you have a wireless charger here too, which I think should be able to fit my phone, which is, like I said, always bigger than Jack's. Jack's is that big, mine is bigger than Jack's. Does it fit? Yep, it fits. So my Note fits and Jack's iPhone fits. Will it charge both phones at the same time? No, it won't. Continuing down, you've got piano black plastics all over the place, including the steering wheel. And that, as I've mentioned before, I'm not exactly a big fan of. Then you've got your cooled seats, which I am a huge fan of, and not just heated, but cooled seats as well. And then your parking sensors and your camera. Here, actually, check this out. This thing is quite large. This center console, thanks, Joey. You can fit an iPad in here. Check this out. It's standing, dude. And I can lean it, and you can close it. What's in the box?
I'll show you with the box. What was in the box?
We do appreciate all the subscribers out there who have subscribed to our channel. And if you haven't yet, please do so because we want to make sure that you don't miss out on any of our videos. And thanks for helping us reach almost 400,000 subscribers. A little bit more and we're there. Then we'll aim for 500. Then we'll aim for 1 million. Today, the Philippines. Tomorrow, the world. Immediately, the first thing that you'll notice when you hop in and put her in drive and get going is that it's obviously going to be a very comfortable car and a comfortable drive as well because the suspension is very soft. Now, as Kia puts it, it is a grand utility vehicle and not a minivan. Truthfully though, you may want to stick with what you know of a minivan when you want to drive it because, well, the chassis there's a little bit of a flex when you go over, let's say, certain potholes or even speed bumps at a curve. The doors creak just a little bit, which is, it's not particularly great, but you get that with cars with sliding doors. So that's a thing. So again, whether or not Kia is going to call this a grand utility vehicle or a minivan, don't expect to drive it like an SUV because you just can't. But like an SUV, it does have a good amount of power because up front is the same engine as you will find inside the Sorento, which is a 2.2-liter turbocharged diesel that produces over 190 horses and 441 newton meters of torque. So it may drive like a minivan every once in a while, but when you floor it, there's power there. But you're not always going to drive it like that. You're not always going to drive it with a lead foot. So when you're inside the city, driving it properly, you'll get about 7, almost 8 kilometers per liter, and on the highway, a little more than 22. Now, I did mention that it's got the exact same engine as that of the Sorento, so it should have the exact same fuel figures, you'd think. No, not exactly. The car obviously is also much, much bigger, which means it's also much heavier. And the fact that you've got not one, but two glass roofs, and then you've got captain's chairs with motors on it, well, all that weight does add up. The one thing that I did find lacking inside this automobile as a driver is the fact that, well, it does have a reverse camera. But for a car of this size, I expected it to have a 360-degree view camera. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Now, some people might say it's not exactly that important because you need to be able to look out the window when you're maneuvering the automobile. Sure, yes, for some situations, but in most situations when you're at low speed, let's say for example going through a drive-through, it's actually quite important, as I'll show you. One thing you certainly do with the family is go through a drive-through, and this car shouldn't be an exception. You should still be able to take it to a drive-through. The thing though is, some drive-throughs can be a bit tight. Even in tight drive-through places like this, I can turn the camera on, and unfortunately, I only have a reverse camera. I don't have anything else. See, if I had a 360-degree camera, I'd be able to tell if I'm getting close to the curb or not. Oh, I do have sensors, so thank goodness for that, but... Okay, am I... we mind drive? Yeah, okay. Yes! No? I'm gonna hit the wall. Oh my God, I'm gonna hit the wall. Ow, oh, damn, that hurt. Stop laughing, man. That hurt. Am I? Oh, I'm at the curb. I can't. I'm at the curb. I'm at the curb. I'm at the curb. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah.
You guys are wondering, we're not making any of this up. He's actually having a hard
I'm
time.
having a little bit.
He's actually...
Joey, am I gonna hit it? Oh, I'm getting the girl to help me. Check this out. Okay, less beeps. Are we gonna make it? I'm stuck. Am I stuck? The wheel's stuck. Okay, okay, okay. Right. Oh, shh. Am I gonna hit?
No.
No? Turn back a little bit. I made it! I'm so happy. Yeah, can I have 2 cheeseburgers, 4 fries? Wala, oh. Can I just have pepperoni or Hawaiian? Can I just have, what do you want? Isang pepperoni at saka isang Hawaiian. That's it. However, as much as I do love driving, this is the type of car that, yeah, to experience it, you gotta experience it from the back. The third row is well thought out. It's not comparable to the second row. Nothing ever is actually in a 7-seater automobile, but it's actually pretty well thought out in the fact that space is actually pretty decent. I've got elbow room if we were 2 passengers in here. No elbow room, but it can certainly fit 3 adults back here without any issues. Now the leg room is actually pretty decent. This chair in front of me right now is set in a position where it's comfortable enough for the second row and very comfortable for the third row. Amenities back here include cup holders of various sizes, which are large enough to carry even my large bottle, either there or there. And then, for convenience, you also have a USB charging point, not just on one side, but on both sides. Now this, for me, is really a cool feature. It's not much, and I tell you, it's a very small piece, but this window shade for the third row, man, that isn't large at all, but I'm telling you, that thing is the weight of this car in gold. I mean, come on. Where have you ever seen a shade for the third row? That's so cool. I love that. I love that a lot. The second row is really where it's at. This is truly where you want to be. The captain's chairs are just the tip of the iceberg, really, because there's a lot happening back here. It's busy in a good way, like you're busy on a Monday morning. It's excellent. First is the fact that you've got a sunroof, and not just a glass roof, no, an actual sunroof for the rear passengers. How pretty premium is that? I'm gonna close it because it's actually quite a warm day. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that warm in this cabin because you've got air vents for each passenger back here, including not just blower controls, but temperature controls as well, which can be found right there. Awesome. To keep you even cooler some more, these front seats, or rather this second row, also has a cool function where air passes through the seats. And not just warm air, mind you, as other cars in the market are limited to that because that's what we import them with. These have cool seats, blowers of cold air. On the door where you will find that, if you put your privacy shade down, these are just not solid glass. They're actually windows that come up and down. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of this 7-seater, which are these two captain chairs right here. This is basically the main talking point of this automobile because this is, well, the premium seat, so to speak. This is your business or first class. First, I will show you or let you know that the seats can get wider from each other, or rather further from each other, in the sense that you can push it so that there's that much more space, which actually makes it more convenient for whoever it is that's going to come into the second row. But by doing so, by increasing the space between, let's say, third passenger and fourth passenger, there's only an X amount of space that you can bring the seat back, because then it hits the C-pillar already. So if you want to be able to recline it as much as possible, you must first bring it closer to one another so that you can bring it as far back as you want it. And look at the amount of legroom that I have. Look at that. I can stretch it all out. That's amazing. But mind you though, that if you do this, obviously that there is no space for the third row. So let's be a little bit kind there and bring it up. So the weird thing is that although that's manual, the rest of the functions, including bringing the futon up, is actually powered, which is great, although it adds a lot of weight to the automobile. But I guess the fact that you want to spoil yourself by pushing this button, and then it reclines automatically, and then, well, my feet are floating, but if you push this guy up, the futon comes up ever so slowly, and then, oh my goodness, this is great. This is truthfully great. You know, there are some times I want to be able to explain just how great the feeling is sitting back inside a 7-seater, but sometimes I find myself using words that I cannot say because this is a YouTube channel that has a younger audience watching every once in a while. So I'll say this, that while in this chair, it feels like I could eat ice cream because I'm sitting on my sofa and I feel like a king, and it just feels so good. Rated PG-13. So it's not a minivan, as Kia said. They've positioned it to be a grand utility vehicle. Well, then let's look at that word. Is it truly a grand utility vehicle? Is it grand? Yes, it is. The second row and the third row are extremely comfortable. You've got captain's chairs that are motorized in the center, and then a third row that can actually fit 3 people. Is it utilitarian? Heck yeah. You open the rear and you've got 1,000 liters of space. That's with the third row in play. You fold that, you got 2,000 liters of space. Is it a vehicle? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it is. The other big question is it actually worth the almost 3 million Philippine pesos that Kia is asking for the Carnival? Truth be told, I hear you, yes, it is a bit on the expensive side. But look at it this way. It's the only one of its kind in its class. Now, at this particular price range, the beauty is that you've got options on other multiple seating vehicles. Yet, they're still premium packaged. Like for instance, Mazda CX-9. Japanese, which has got a more driver-centered experience. Then there's also Ford's Explorer. American, with typically a wider sofa-like ride. Oh, and lest we forget, there's also the ever-popular Alphard from Toyota, a staple on Philippine roads. I do understand there are other cars out there similar to this that seat 7 and have a great amount of space, but it's the only one with a diesel engine. So if you want it, there is a premium to be had, but it's worth it.